So my name's Colton, and today I'm doing a speech over Napoleon Bonaparte. And so throughout history, there's been a lot of men that people keep talking about, such as Caesar, George Washington, and Charlemagne. Another example of these men would be Napoleon. So Napoleon is important because he left a cultural and political impact on the world that we can still see to today. So last couple of days, I spent a couple hours studying over this and doing research over Napoleon. So today we're going to learn about his early life, his rise and fall from power, and then the lasting legacy he's left on this world. So he was born on August 15th, 1769 to Charles and Letizia on the island of Corsica. So the island of Corsica is this little island right here off of Italy. And so he had 8 siblings, and by the time he's age of 5, he is already attending schools for the royalty. Okay. And so then, according to the article from Napoleon.org, which is a organization that commemorates Napoleonic history, he attended the Royal Military Academy at Brienne starting May 15th, 1779. He graduated from the Royal Academy in 1785 and was given the rank of second lieutenant as he joined a artillery unit in the French army. Up until then, he was in the military, but then in 1789 the French Revolution began, and it was over within 3 years. But during the majority of this time, he is actually at home on Corsica, where he stayed until around 1794. And during this time, he became friends with a group of pro-democracy groups called the Jacobians. And so through this, he rose to the rank of brigadier general. And so then in 1795, he put down a royalist uprising and got promoted to the rank of brigadier general. And so then after he got promoted, he fought in Italy, where he defeated an Austrian army and helped promote him even further up in the political circles. After he defeated the Austrians in Italy, he went to Egypt, where he fought the Mamluks, who were a British power. And according to History.com, it was during this campaign that an Egyptian or a French soldier actually found the Rosetta Stone, which was used to understand hieroglyphics. And then in 1799, while he's still in Egypt, he heard about the political turmoil in France, and so that's when he went back, and with a group of other political allies, he performed the coup of 18 Briare, in which him and 2 other men took power from the group that was running the country at that time. And so he was elected consul. And then in 1800, he beat the Austrians in Italy again and actually drove them out of Italy. And this is what promoted him into first consul. It was during this time that there was a small amount of peace in France, and he started doing economic and political reforms, such as he built roads and hospitals. He actually centralized the French government, and actually had he has a code called the Napoleonic Code, which is still used for French civil law today. And so then during this time, in 1802, there was actually a constitutional amendment that made him first consul for life. And it was around 1803 where he actually made the Louisiana Purchase, where he sold about a third of the country to the U.S. And then 1804 is when he crowned himself Emperor of France. And then over the next couple of years, Over the next couple of years, he defeated or won many battles, such as the Battle of or Austerlitz, which led to the dissolution of the Holy Roman Empire. Is up to this time he kept winning, but in 1810 his luck started to change, and war broke out with Russia after they broke a treaty with him. And so it is in 1812, which would be around here in this picture. You can see the French allies, and then in blue and then in green is the people he's fighting against. So in the winter of 1812, he led the 600,000 strong Grand Army into Russia. But by the time winter is over, they'd been defeated and they left Russia with only 100,000 men. Then after the defeat in Russia in 1813, he was defeated again at the Battle of Nations, where he fought 4 rival powers at the same time. And then later on, around April, Paris fell, and then on April 6th, he's forced to abdicate the throne. He's sent to the island of Elba, which is around here, and he's sent to exile there, where he stayed for less than a year, wherein he returned on February 26th and reclaimed his title of emperor. And so then by June of 1815, to try to defeat his enemies, he marched into Belgium, which would be around in here, where he defeated the Austrians, but then 2 days later lost the Battle of Waterloo. And on June 22nd, he was forced to abdicate again. After this time, he was sent to the island of St. Helena. This little island right here. He died May 5th of 1821 of what many people believe was stomach cancer. Now that we've gone through his life, let's take a quick look at the legacy that he leaves behind. So the strategies that he used to fight in these wars are still studied to this day. He formed the National Bank of France, as well as used the Napoleonic Code of Law, which is still used today. He actually also had France adopt this use of the metric system, so he helped pave the way to that as well. And he also led to the War of 1812 between the U.S. because British soldiers would press American sailors into their navy. And so in a small way, he led to the war between the U.S. and the British government at that time. So in conclusion, we learned about the rise and fall from power and some of the lasting changes he made to the world. And it's kind of important to look at because, again, today we're looking at another situation where there's one country kind of terrorizing all of Europe, and how we can kind of learn from that, learn from history, and see kind of what happens from that. And so hopefully now you know a little bit more than you did before about Napoleon Bonaparte and the political and cultural effects he had on our world.